Welcome back to Candid Cloud Convos.
We are your hosts, Gina and Emelita. Let's jump right into the topics of the week. We have two of them this week. Gina.
Okay, so topic number one is a woman by the name of Abby Bella reports that she was abducted by aliens and fell in love with one of the aliens. And now she wants to normalize interspecies dating. Okay, so we're just going to leave it right there for a second. And let's just talk about like that part.
So I'm not saying she's any less worthy of love, but I just want to know, number one, how did they communicate?
She says telepathically.
Interesting.
And then to see him again, I don't want to say, I don't know if it's a him, but
allegedly,
she will go by her window and she'll meditate, and then she'll get a green beam, brings her up to the UFO, and then she goes to see him again.
I have another question. It's a follow-up question.
Uh-huh.
How many drugs was she on when this happened?
Don't know, but I would love to find out. Another thing I thought was kind of like, I feel like the word interspecies dating sounds hella weird. Like, that sounds like you're trying to mess with an animal or something.
No, literally.
Like, I don't think the first thing I would think is aliens.
Right. Where is she going with this exactly? If she's trying to normalize it, does that also include people who are trying to be with animals? Because I've heard that it's only illegal in like certain states to not have sex with animals, which is very odd to me.
Why is it illegal? Why would it be legal to do that?
It's actually legal in a few states. I can't lie. I don't know which one's off the top of my head. We can look it up for future reference, but I have heard that.
That's actually disgusting.
Where's the justice for the animals?
Actually. But so I thought that when I first seen this, I thought it was real. Like, I thought homegirl, so she has a YouTube channel. So I seen article, I was reading about it, and then I was like, oh, she has a YouTube channel. So I'm going to look at her YouTube channel. And she only has like a few videos, and like the majority of them are about the whole alien thing.
Uh-huh.
And she like goes into like, if you're done with Earthlings, like, get you an alien man. Like, she starts doing it like
a matchmaking service.
Yeah, like a matchmaking service. Exactly. I got part into the video and I was like, there's just no way. In the videos, she was giving me very like Trisha Paytas vibes.
Okay.
And she's, has the look very similar too. So I don't know. That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
And then I came across a podcast that she was on, and she talked about it being a skit. It was like, because she's an aspiring actress, she's like, oh, I'm just like, pretty much trying to get her name out there.
That'll get me some attention. She's like,
yeah,
you tired of fuck boys? Call me up. I got some alien shorties for you.
Yeah. That's
hilarious, bro.
And I like, it was so funny because she did pretty good, but like, it's just to be honest, it's kind of genius, like, because it's working.
Very much reaching.
Yeah, and it's working. Like, her name's getting out there. She's getting the attention that she wanted from it.
Right. So, like, it's making people curious. So
exactly. It definitely caught my attention.
Right. And going off of that, we also seen that as websites suggest that alien abduction stories may come from lucid dreaming, which is very interesting because she mentioned that she was like meditating when it happened. Uh-huh. And so I don't know, maybe that could be true. I've always thought, because I actually seen a TikTok where this girl talked about being abducted by aliens, and how
me too.
I want to say she was with a friend, but she happened to be the only one that got abducted by the alien. So I was just very confused. Like, I don't know if is it be fucking ignorant about aliens, but like, I don't know. I don't want to sound ignorant.
Are we gonna get canceled?
I don't want to get canceled, but like, physically, where was her body then?
Right.
Was she there sitting with her friend, and her friend was just like off into another world? Or like, did she physically get like launched into the, like, that's what I'm imagining based off of movies. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I mean, it very well could be lucid dreaming, and like, you're just in that state,
right.
But I don't know. I've always been curious of that though.
Yeah. Like, I don't know either. Cause like,
because you can force yourself to lucid dream, no? Or like, you can train yourself.
Right. Yeah.
You can train yourself to meditate. So I don't know, but why would you, or do you manifest the alien, or like, does it find you? And that's kind of Because you
Well,
would
see,
have
but
already
then
been
it's like
in
if
a
you
meditative practicing state. So are you
that,
wanting that to happen? And that's what happened?
that's what
So
I'm saying. But what about the people who haven't been doing that and they just say that like
yeah,
they had an experience? So like I don't know, because I'm very open to the fact that like anything is fucking possible. Like
yeah.
literally anything that
Typical of
things we
everything.
think, yeah, like things we think we know, we really don't. Like we have
Yeah,
no idea. So
right.
like 100% I believe aliens do exist. There's
Mhm.
no fucking way that
Same.
Earth is the only place in the whole universe.
Yeah,
We're like the tiniest little less of a speck
right.
in the universe, but we're the only ones that have living things on it. We're so special that we're
Yeah,
the only ones. Like there's no way. So I
there's
definitely believe
no way.
aliens exist. So it could be lucid dreaming, but what if it also could actually be aliens?
Right,
You
like
know?
physically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there is certain, alien sightings and things that happen here on Earth that suggest that there are aliens or that they
Uh-huh.
are even here with us.
Right.
So it very, very, very well could be, but who's to say yes or no? Like, how
Right.
do
No,
you
like
find it out?
who knows if we'll ever know?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I hope it doesn't happen to me per se. I respect the alien species.
Yes.
I have nothing against
Good.
dating, do you love whoever you want to love? I'm all for it. But just keep me out of it, maybe, I'll take a rain check.
Yeah, I'll just keep my distance. But
Yeah.
happy for you.
But also, just so you know, guys, this kind of segues into hopefully a new episode that we'll be having coming soon where we talk about conspiracy theories and if we believe in them.
Yes.
Let us know if you guys want to see that because I'm really hyped about it.
I think it'd be a really cool one.
I think so too.
So as you guys seen in the title, we are going to be discussing the Gabby Potito case. It's an ongoing case to this day. It's like brand new pretty much. We're just doing this solely to spread the awareness of her story. Like nobody and no family should have to go through what she and her family went and are going through right now.
Right. Hopefully you guys got some information that you may not have known prior to.
Shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. So for those of you who don't know who Gabby Potito is, she is a 22-year-old YouTube and Instagram influencer. And she was engaged to a man named Brian Laundrie, who is 23. They actually ended up pursuing a relationship and went out on their first date in March 2019. They're both originally from Long Island, New York, and this is when they met. Brian's family moved to Florida. Shortly after is when Gabby moved to Florida and they started living with his family. At the time of both of them living in Florida, they both worked at Publix grocery store and did so until they had their road trip plans.
Their plan for their road trip was to be from New York and cross-country road trip down to Portland, Oregon at their friend's house, which I think they wanted to make it there by Halloween. Mm-hmm. So they were giving themselves like 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Like around 3 months to get across country and going to like all these different monuments and, just like landmarks, national parks, all these different places. During this time, she's posting regularly on her social medias. So she's pretty active and staying consistent.
And I'd like to mention too that her Instagram, when you look it up, it has like a certain aesthetic, and that's very important, I think, to just note that she has a very pretty Instagram. Like she has it laid out very nicely. You can tell that there's like an aesthetic that she puts into it, into creating her page and keeping up with it. But they also were planning to vlog and post content of their van life journey because they were inspired by other van life YouTubers that they've seen, like vloggers and stuff.
And like her Instagram profile was like, they looked like they're just like this super happy couple that's traveling, across the US together, like very, white
nature,
like happy.
Yeah. They were both really into nature, reading. They were they were into a lot of outdoorsy activities and art. And it always seemed like he was a little bit more into that kind of stuff than she was, but it seemed like she wanted to support him and kind of go on that journey with him as well. So she kind of wanted to love it too for him.
Yeah.
On his Instagram bio, it says, "Take a hike every day. Bug bites are better than being brainwashed by the media." So that I thought was a little kind of weird to have as an Instagram bio. Like, it's fine to be like a nature enthusiast or whatever that looks like for him, but it just seemed like if you're trying to start a YouTuber, Instagram influencer type of life, but you don't
like
media.
I seen somewhere that it was more her that like wanted to do it. And I know that he was like in her videos and obviously on her page,
right?
But supposedly he wasn't like that supportive about it. And that was something they also argued about. But I don't know. That's what I see. I heard somewhere in one of the videos, but I'm not sure.
But like, why have an Instagram at all?
Right.
You know,
if you don't want to be on social medias.
So just to get into the timeline of events, at the time when Gabby and Brian were living in Florida before leaving on their journey, Gabby didn't have any family in Florida. It was only his family that lived in Florida. Her parents both still lived in New York at the time until June of 2021. Her dad, Joe, moved to Florida about 3 hours away from where she was, and did so to be closer to her, which obviously leads into them leaving about a month later, which I just thought it was kind of weird. Like, why would he move? Right. And then she just up and leaves for a few months. I mean, I guess it was just until, Halloween, and then they were going to travel back or whatever. So they started their journey on the van about a month later, starting on July 2nd of this year, 2021. Like Gina mentioned, they set out from New York. And at this time, Gabby is posting regular content on her social medias at the landmarks that they're stopping at. By July 4th, Gabby posted content at their first stop, which was Monument Rocks in Kansas. July 8th, they ended up at Colorado Springs, and she posted there. July 10th and 11th, they posted at the Great Sand Dunes in Colorado as well. July 16th through the 18th, they posted photos from Zion in Utah. July 21st and 22nd, there was posted photos from Bryce Canyon in Utah as well. July 26th, there was posted photos from Mystica Springs in Utah. And July 30th and 31st, she posted from Canyon Lands in Utah.
And then going into August 12th, so we're about a week later, a little over a week later, the couple is seen in Moab City, Utah, and they're in public and they're arguing. And I heard that allegedly he was hitting her, he was slapping her, something like that. And eventually the bystanders called 911.
Right.
I think at some point too, he even like locked her out of the van, which is her van.
Right.
And he locked her out of her own van, and then she climbed in through a window to get back into the thing. And they're just like going back and forth.
Also reported hearing a comment from Gabby saying, "Why do you have to be so mean?" to Brian.
So there was obviously, they were going at it with each other.
Right.
Out in public for everybody to see and hear. So eventually they called 911, the police show up. The message wasn't passed though, that he was, allegedly hitting her. Neither of them mentioned it. The police didn't ask about it until they noticed scratch marks on his face. Like you said, they pulled him over. I think they hit the curb even, and the guy was like, the body cam footage of this is also on YouTube. Like, you can look it up. It's like an hour and 17 minutes or something like that. They pulled him over. She's like in hysterics, and he's pretty calm, I would say. They separated them. She was, talking about how she was sorry for being mean because she has like, she was very particular about things. And they were just having like what sounded like they started off as like a petty argument over like cleaning or, something like that.
It's been said that the argument was over a cell phone.
Oh.
Which goes back to him being a very minimalist person, not wanting to be on media, not wanting to be on a phone. He only used phones for necessity, and he was more of an off the grid type of guy. She had several conversations about the way the dynamic was on this road trip with her mom during the trip. So maybe, I don't know if maybe he overheard her and it just kind of started something.
Escalated.
I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what was said, but it was said in a report that the argument was started over a cell phone.
And she said in the video that like, she's like, I have OCD, and like, I like in a certain way. And I told him that I was sorry for being mean, but like, I just, I have OCD. And she's like, crying to the police officer.
Of her part of the argument.
Exactly.
100%.
So she said it started in the van about one of those things, but like, it was loud enough for people to see. The cops had to pull them over. And like, I feel like it kind of ended with them almost victimizing him because he had scratches on him. I don't know. I mean, I don't see why it was not further like
mark.
That could have been defense wounds. Like,
correct.
She could have been fighting him off, especially if people seen that, oh, well, that was the thing, people said that he was hitting her, but somewhere the message didn't get transferred to the police from the 911 operator that was something that was heard, so like if he's hitting her, that she most likely was trying to fight him off.
Right.
So that's what happened on August 12th.
a national park ranger who also responded to the 911 call interacted with Gabby for about 90 minutes. This is not on the body cam footage, I don't believe, but she warned her that her relationship with Brian had markings of a toxic one. This is a direct quote from the park ranger. Her name is Melissa Hulls. She said, "I was imploring with her to reevaluate the relationship, asking her if she was happy in the relationship with him, and basically saying that this was an opportunity for her to find another path to make a change in her life." So even her, someone who didn't know her prior to going
could
to
see
that
it.
call, she could see something wasn't right here.
Yeah, I think those bystanders could probably see it too.
Right.
I mean, for bystanders to have to call 911 for an argument that you're having like out in public, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it was in front of a store at first, and then moved into into the van, and then they sped off, and that's when the police pulled them over.
And supposedly they hit the curb because he wasn't going to stop and she pulled the wheel. And at first she denied that she pulled the wheel, and then she said she did pull the wheel. So she probably made him stop for the police because he most likely was not going to. Obviously she's in hysterics. Like, why would he not stop for the police if they're pulling them over, you know?
Yeah.
So it was already
leads into where he's at now. So
right. That brings us to August 24th.
His post was a little odd in the caption, but honestly, I didn't look into what his other posts were really about. So I don't know if the caption goes with what he normally would be saying, but the last post that Brian had on Instagram was on August 13th. He posted something along the lines about humans being primates and us being connected to plants and the earth, etc. Gabby's last Instagram post was on August 19th. She posted twice that day, which I guess was not unusual for her. It didn't seem to match other content aesthetics she's posted previously, and her caption was very, very weird, mentioning Halloween and where they were supposed to end up. And so it was just like, why would you mention that when you're not there yet?
Yeah.
Also, most of her content to this point had been posted with location tags of where that monument was or where that landmark was. This one did not have a tag. It also had a very short caption, whereas hers includes a lot of information about how they got from, you know, such and such park to this place and all the things they talked about or whatever that looked like. It was very
because she was also kind of like a blogger, so she would kind of do like little blog posts in her captions.
Exactly. So they were very lengthy, full of information, and these two posts on August 19th were not. Gabby's family does not believe that these were posted by her.
So that was the 19th of August. And so by the 24th of August, Gabby and Brian are spotted leaving, checking out of the hotel in Salt Lake City, Utah. Now they're leaving. I think their next stop was Wyoming. I think that's the direction they were heading in next. And then the 25th, so the next day after they checked out of the hotel, on the 25th of August, Gabby FaceTimed with her mom. And this is the last known time that she was seen, because it was the last time her mom actually spoke with her, like face to face in the FaceTime.
Right.
After this, anything from her is kind of doubted that it was actually her.
Right. And comes off very odd in the context.
Yeah.
Which is why it
turns real suspicious.
Right. So on August 27th, texts were sent from Gabby's phone to her mom that read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." This message was concerning to her mother because she was referring to her grandfather as Stan, which was his name, but she never called him by this. Her family believes this was not sent by Gabby. Following that text, Gabby's phone was no longer operational.
And I remember seeing that, like, you know, the mom obviously noticed that was off, but she also kind of had no reason to think it was anything like about what it actually was, like anything suspicious in that sense.
Right.
Because prior to, there were no red flags, supposedly, according to the dad. But she did note that was like, that's weird. Like, she never calls him Stan. And so it was weird enough for her to notice it in the moment.
And remember it.
Exactly. August 29th. So a woman named Miranda Baker, she posted a series of videos on TikTok. This event happened on the 29th of August, but obviously her videos came out after, you know, this was put on the news and everything, that Gabby was missing. But Miranda Baker says that on August 29th, her and her boyfriend...
evidence, kind of.
Exactly, yeah. Miranda and her boyfriend picked up Brian at the Grand Teton National Park at a rest stop, and he was by himself. It was like, I think he was next to some showers or something like that. It was a rest stop that there weren't really much people at. And he offered them $200 for a 10-mile ride. which she
Before
obviously
even
thought
getting
was weird. But yeah, he was asking them if they could give him a ride, and she thought like $200 for 10 miles. Like she's like, that's weird, and she knew that was weird. Like
that way as well.
Yeah, but they gave him the ride because they're already going in that direction. But they said he did mention that he had a fiance. He said that she was in the van working on their social media page. So he did mention her, but he said she was just doing work pretty much in the van.
Right. He also mentioned that he had been camping by himself for the last few days. Miranda also mentioned in conversation to Brian that they were heading to Jackson Hole instead of Jackson. This immediately caused Brian to freak out. He asked them to pull over and he said he needed to get out. And this was only less than 30 minutes after they picked him up. So he didn't even get to the point of where he was supposed to go with them. He was dropped off at 6:09 p.m. near the Jackson Dam. And he told them when he left that he was going to find someone else to hitchhike with, and he didn't say why.
So Miranda said in her videos that he didn't smell or like look dirty or look like someone that had been camping for several days. She also said he was pretty nice, before he had that little freak out, that he was just kind of like talking normally, right. Didn't really seem in distress or anything like that.
Like they were making small talk.
Exactly. It was just like a regular conversation.
August 30th, texts were sent from Gabby's phone to Gabby's mom. There is no service near Yosemite. Where the hitchhikers picked up Brian was near Yellowstone. So the text message said Yosemite. This could have been, again, allegedly, this could have been Brian freaking out and just slipping on the name in a frantic, text message just to let her know. Gabby's mom also reported to the Florida police that before Gabby disappeared, she talked to her about she and Brian having more and more tension between them during this road trip. The fact that it was over the phone, like they started arguing over the phone. Maybe he overheard a conversation she was telling the mom about, and he didn't like what was said, or maybe, I don't know. Allegedly, I'm just saying it could be.
And this was the mom reported it on August 30th, or she reported it like
on August 30th is when she received the text that there was no service near Yosemite from Gabby's phone, which obviously the family does not believe to be Gabby. But she later reported to the Florida police that before this all happened with Gabby, that she did know that there were things going on between them. I don't know if she knew specifics, but she did know that there was a lot more tension in their relationship, a lot more conflict.
This is the part that really trips me out.
Same.
Is that September 1st, Brian returns to Florida in the van without Gabby. He has the van, which means he drove. But how in the hell did he get from Wyoming to Florida in 2 or 3 days? Like, actually, how? Even with the quickest, I don't know, whatever, that's at the very least like 8 states in between. Right. And that's like, if that's the quickest way, but I'm sure you probably have to go through more.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know how did he get there. That route looks like, but that
literally baffles me.
What also gets me is, okay, he returns without her. Mm-hmm. Why would you leave your fiance? Who knows where? Who knows what happened? Why would you leave her and head back to Florida without her?
And not say nothing to nobody the whole drive home?
For days. And you just show up without her. Like, what did you think?
In her van. In her van.
Right. Thank you for mentioning that. This was her van. They were using it together, yes. But it technically was her van, her idea, everything.
Like that's some
when
audacity.
He returned without her.
I just don't even get it. Like, I don't know what his thought process was on that, truly.
Who knows? How did Gabby's mom know that he was back in Florida and then started reaching out to him? Or did she reach out because she hadn't heard from Gabby in a little while? Is that what made her reach out to Brian and her mom and his mom about Gabby? That's what's unclear to me.
What information or what knowledge does she have to know that he's back home? Well, she called him and the mom. Right. What's weird is that she also called the mom. Like, why did she also reach out to her for information? Like,
because Gabby and Brian lived with the parents.
So was it because she knew he was back home, or because she was like, have you heard from Brian?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm curious
on. That's the part that is also kind of like, is crazy to me, is like Brian's mom, like as a mother herself, how could she do that to another mother?
Not only just that, but not even respond.
That's what I'm saying. Like she has all she wants to know is where her daughter is.
Yeah.
And like as a mother, you should be like, I can't like I would know what that would feel like if I didn't know where my son was.
Exactly.
You know, so but she's not even respond,
to not even acknowledge her or respond.
Exactly.
Like you are just as fucking guilty. Like
yes.
I can't.
And it gets worse too.
Yeah, if you have nothing to do with it, you had a relationship with Gabby as her soon-to-be mother-in-law at one point. So do you not care of what happened to her, or do you know exactly what happened to her because your son told you over that course of 9 days, and now you're figuring out what the hell you're gonna do with him?
So disgusting. So after that, on September 11th, so the next day that she reached out, she called the police. The mom called the police, and a missing persons investigation was started. And they first set out to Grand Teton National Park because that was their last known destination. That's where they were heading. That's where they were going to be at. So that's where she's like, that's where she would be, assumingly, you know?
Right. Should have been.
That's where she should have been. But at this point, they have absolutely no idea because she hasn't heard from her or anybody at this point. So then September 13th, the Laundrie family refuses to speak with authorities and stated that they're going to stay out of it from their lawyer. So they went through their lawyer to say to the media or to the police that they're going to take a back step and they're just going to stay out of it. And they're refusing to answer anything. I mean, how suspicious does it look that not only did you come back home from a road trip with your fiance, without your fiance in her van, but you immediately get a lawyer and refuse to talk to anybody, refuse to talk to the family. And if she's missing, you're not looking for her. So that's pretty much says you know where she's at and you know what happened. You're just refusing to say anything about it. The people who want to play devil's advocate can say like, right, okay, innocent until proven guilty, which is true. But the actions that he was doing, like all you're doing is making yourself look guilty.
He's not even
like, how can you even try to make it make sense? You know what I'm saying?
He's not even making himself accessible to the authorities, to answer questions, to give a statement, to even tell them anything about.
He's completely refusing.
September 14th, Brian is declared a person of interest by police. Obviously, he's the only person of interest in this entire case, even to this day. And September 15th, police released body cam footage from the August 12th encounter that we were talking about previously.
September 17th, the Laundrie family call investigators to their home and admit that Brian had been missing for 3 days. So 3 days later,
he was declared a person of interest.
Yeah.
It was reported that he left his home with his backpack and told them he was going to a local nature reserve.
So going from there, September 18th, the FBI and Florida police launched a major manhunt for Brian, including the efforts of drones, bloodhounds. They had, helicopters even. I think one of the helicopters, or maybe it was one of the drones, was able to snapshot a picture of a man with a backpack who they don't know. They believe it could be Brian Laundrie, but it looks like, honestly, from what the videos and the pictures that they have out there of him, it does look like it's him. It's obviously a little bit grainy. It's in, kind of like infrared type, camera. So it's not the clearest picture, but it looks like him. I mean, 99%, that's him. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Right. They initially started their search on a nearby park, which spans about 200 acres before even getting to the rest of the reserve that he was supposedly going to.
And honestly, I don't know why they didn't already have his house like on a 24/7 like surveillance or watch, because he was already declared a person of interest. Why did they not have, and he's refusing to talk with police. So why was no one watching him?
Like, it's, a side note, like, was it the ball dropped within the Florida police?
I think at least in the fact that no one was watching his house, or maybe it was like a shift change and literally there was like a 10-minute span of when no one was there or something. Like, I don't know. But you would think if he's a person of interest on a missing person, someone would be watching him, making sure he's not going to try to dip nowhere.
Right. And I would assume, they would assume he's a flight risk if he fucking fled from Wyoming to Florida in 2 days.
Yeah.
September 19th, a YouTube couple released GoPro footage that allegedly confirms that the van was in Grand Teton National Park on August 27th between 6 and 6:30 p.m. that evening. The couple said that they too were from Florida and were looking for a spot to camp, and they thought it was neat to see a vehicle with Florida plates in Wyoming. Like, a coincidence, they just decided to stop there because they thought that was cool. They thought about stopping to say hello to the people in the van, but the van was completely dark. There was nobody there, which is a direct quote from the couple. The van looked like it was pretty much kind of abandoned, and that's a
like
direct.
they said it was dirty, right?
Yeah,
like,
like
it looked like it was tucked off.
It was like completely black. There was nobody in there, so obviously they didn't stop to say hello, and they just kept moving. But there's footage on YouTube from their GoPro of their vlog in that exact location with her van.
And then so also on September 19th, the FBI announces a body has been found in the Wyoming forest that is believed to be Gabby. You know, they hadn't at the time confirmed it yet, because I think they were saying that certain tattoos were what they were kind of going off of to make sure that it was her. And they said, you know, what they thought was her, and then it was confirmed that it was her on the 21st.
So September 20th, FBI suspends the search to execute a search warrant for the Laundrie family residence. It was about 25 FBI agents searched the home, vehicles, and shed on property. They removed a number of boxes full of items. They also removed a Ford Mustang convertible and towed it away as evidence as well.
September 21st, we're at pretty much to the day.
We're literally filming this September
on the 21st. Yeah. So this is brand new information that just was released literally today. Her autopsy was confirmed as a homicide. The cause of death is still under investigation, so they haven't exactly said what the cause of death was, but they do know that it was a murder. Right. It is now officially a homicide.
I did also have some things when researching that I wanted to bring up. He offered when he was hitchhiking, he offered them $200. If you worked at Publix in Florida, which is a grocery store, after weeks of being on the road, how do you still have $200 to give someone for 10 miles of a trip?
Right. And if that was his last 200, he was just willing to just give it up like that? Like, no way, he still needed money for gas.
I don't think he ended up giving them the money.
No, I don't think they took it.
Another thing was how we're talking about, you know, there's no motive. Thing that I was thinking about is, could it have been premeditated?
Like his whole scheme was to do it during the road trip?
Yeah, because where they ended up, I was doing some research, and a lot of these things called the zone of death was mentioned. And the zone of death is a 50 square mile section of Idaho, including a section of the Yellowstone National Park that is basically a 50-mile square radius of where a criminal can theoretically avoid prosecution for any major crime up to and including murder. This was a result of a loophole in the United States Constitution. So
nobody don't get no ideas.
Right. Please. But maybe Brian knew of this, and maybe it could have been premeditated, and that's just where they ended up because he knew he wouldn't get in trouble. But my other question is, why are you now fleeing then?
But in Idaho, she was found in Wyoming. So like, I did it there, but I dropped her off here.
Right. Because maybe he thought it was going to look like she drowned, or maybe he was going to say, well, the last place I seen her was Yellowstone National Park. We got in an argument. I took off in the van, and she, you know, I don't know, ended up in the, you know,
yeah,
I don't know, but
he's not even trying to come up with nothing because he's refusing to talk.
Exactly. And because you are now nowhere to be found, you look guiltier than guilty. So I just
leaving with just a backpack.
Yeah, like at this point, it's just, I pray for her family. My thoughts and prayers are with her family, especially after today and finding that, you know, it was a homicide. Obviously, they probably knew that already, but it's not the answers that they're looking for, you know, even though this happened like so suddenly and tragically, like no family should have to go through this. And I just
pray that they get the justice for her that she deserves, and they deserve too.
Right. She had her whole life ahead of her, and so many plans and ideas and things that she wanted to do and create and see. And she loved traveling. She, you know, she had even been out of the country. So I just feel like her life was taken from her for no damn reason. And someone has to start talking and answer to this family, because they deserve more than anything. They deserve to have the answers that they don't want to hear, but they need to hear to have that closure, you know, like I'm sure
to move forward.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't want to hear all of what happened, but sure it kind of will help them move forward, like you said, and just kind of honor her memory in a different way that nothing to do with this.
for who she was and not what happened to her.
Exactly. And with that, we felt like no affirmation for the week was going to do any justice. So I actually found or picked apart a quote from a TikTok video that was made in Gabby Potito's honor. It is only a part of the quote because it was a lengthier quote and it kind of went with the video. But the quote for this week in honor of Gabby Potito will be, "I will say her name. I will share her story. I will spread awareness. I will use my voice because hers was silenced." And that's what we wanted to do with today's video, is just bring awareness to her case and be her voice for her because she no longer has the ability to tell her story. So
Hers was silenced.
yep, for no reason. So with that, everybody be safe, be kind to yourself and to others. Again, piggybacking off of last week's episode, be kind to people. I don't know if there was a certain situation in this case that could have saved her, you know, like if like, not saying that the witnesses didn't do enough calling 911, but maybe if they could have like already separated them, or I don't know, because then it's also like you don't want to get in when you're out in public, like you probably
put yourself in a situation that could be potentially dangerous. But
yeah,
no, like you said, like I like that. Like, I think if you are seeing something or witnessing something that just feels wrong, help them out in whatever way you can, whether it's, you know, calling the police, or if you feel safe and confident enough to physically put yourself in the middle of it, then that's definitely like your choice. Right. Just do something just that can help.
It was reported that they watched
it was physical
slap her. And so at that point, no woman deserves to be hit, you know, like obviously a guy doesn't make it seem, I don't want to make it seem like it's okay for a woman to hit a man either. But if you're literally witnessing that, why wouldn't you go and get involved and wait for the police there rather than letting them go? I appreciate the fact that they got the license plate, that they called 911, that they followed up with all of that information, but it just like sits in my, like a pit in my stomach. Like, what if they could have done more? Anybody, you know, I don't know if anything like that could have maybe changed the course of what happened. Obviously, he set out for whatever he set out to do, and that's what happened. But I think if anyone's responsible for it, it's definitely him, and he needs to answer to the family. If not,
right, he's a coward. He's hiding.
Yes,
he's running away.
And also, can his family be prosecuted as like accessory? Because
that's what I would think. They hit it.
Confused at this point. Like they're like, what is it called? Harboring a fugitive,
or at least knowing where he's at.
Yeah. They have to have some way of getting in contact with him if they needed to.
Yeah, they're all guilty in my eyes. Like, obviously,
100%.
The main one is Brian, but like his parents just, I mean, you're not, at that point, you're not even good parents. Like, if you can't hold your own son accountable, obviously he doesn't hold himself accountable, but which most likely means it was the way you raised him, but you're not holding him accountable. How is he supposed to hold himself ever? Right. You know? Like, and they're 100% encouraging what he's doing, and they're all guilty.
Please let us know if you guys enjoyed this type of episode. I really liked it. I think maybe we can do more of these going forward. And
we listen to like true crime all the time, and to do one ourselves on something so like just, I don't know, hits close. It hits really close. She's our age. She's so young, had a lot going for herself. So it definitely hits close to home, but it's nice to be able to spread her story, like you said, and just put her voice out there the same way other true crime stories do. And yeah, hope you guys liked it.
And if there's any other information that you guys know that maybe we didn't include, comment it on our Instagram so we can have like a live discussion there, maybe add some additional information. We love you. Thank you so much.
We love you
again for episode 4. We'll be
Stay
back
tuned
next week. Bye.
Bye.